Yeah. You kind of touched on it a little bit. If you can, you could talk about the track with Biggie. Keep your hands high. Now, I think I seen an interview and you said Hove was at the studio with y'all as well.
Yeah, he had a session. He was working on The Streets is Watching, I believe. We were both at, we were all at D&D Studios, and he was there. Him and Big was chopping it up before I got there, and that was actually the first time I had met Jay. And so, it was real brief. Yo, what's good? Da 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 da. Shook hands and all that other stuff, and then he went into a session, and me and Big proceeded to get busy at ours, and so it was dope because in the midst of writing the song, we were really chopping it up, and he was giving me jewels about the business that I had never heard before at that particular time. And so, definitely a great conversation. Definitely, jewels that will last a lifetime. You know what I mean? And then after that, we proceeded to get busy, but his writing style was different. Different than what I had seen, because he wasn't writing stuff down. We would have conversations, and then he would kind of mentally dip out, and you just see him doing this. And I'm like, yo, what is he doing? And he'll come back in the conversation, then he'll dip out and just sitting in the chair though, and just start doing this because the music is playing in the background. Loud though, but it's playing. And so, we rolling up, we taking sips of the Henny, blah, blah, blah. And then next thing you know, 8 hours later, he's like, I'm ready. I said, ready for what? He's like, I'm ready to get in a booth. I said, where's your pen and the pad? He's like, I can't write it down. It confuses me. So I never understood that until later. You know what I mean? And so what Big was doing was he was compartmentalizing everything in his head, writing it in his head, but instead of writing it on the paper and writing it in his head, he could kind of get the inflections of the way he wanted to say the rhyme, and get everything together and transfer it straight to the mic, as opposed to putting it on paper where he still would have to kind of read it and then spit in the mic. You're kind of cutting out the middleman, which is genius, you know what I'm saying? Plus the way Big rhymes, he's very efficient with his words. So he don't have to write a lot of words, just the right words. And so those words would just stay in his head, man. And then once he caught the bounce, that was it. And so what you got was the result of that is what I like to think is a masterpiece between he and I, man, because it was a verbal joust. You know what I'm saying? Like I think a lot of people won't admit it, but I think I made him step his game up as he made me step my game up. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's what MCs do. The sword sharpens the sword. So, I just think, I'm very grateful and thankful that I had the opportunity to rhyme with the brother, rest in power, Notorious B.I.G. And, like I said, I like to think that I made him a better MC because I know he made me a better MC. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. R.I.P. to Big, man. One of the
Mhm.
greatest, the
Yes.
GOAT, one of them, most definitely. But I mean, the way that you broke it down, I never really looked at it like that. He's spitting it fresh from his
Yeah.
brain to the wax. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. Like, just the whole time, the process of him just memorizing it, getting the flows and the inflections and all of that without writing it down. So it comes out easier when you're transferring it to the market. And eventually I started, after I went to law school, that's what I started doing. You know what I'm saying? It's like, because I could remember more things just for me exercising my brain and studying cases and all that other stuff. It was like, oh, to write a rhyme is nothing. You know what I'm saying? So then I started to adopt that, saying that's when it really clicked. It's like this Big was talking about all them years ago. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
You know, tripping. Man, that's crazy, man. Now that you said that, for the viewers who may not know, like you said, you went to law school, you actually a lawyer, but you an entertainment lawyer. Man, what motivated you to go from being a hip hop artist, or is that something that you always wanted to do? How did you make
Oh,
that transition?
no, I had no intention. Once I graduated from undergrad, man, I had no intention of going back to school. But, it was really the business, man. It was, once I got into the business, because I got into the business just wanting to be a dope MC. And so once I got in there, it was like, now I understand that this is not really about being a dope MC. It's really about the politics. It's really about the business acumen. It's really about, getting what you negotiate, you know what I mean? And then, you know, because I didn't have that type of guidance coming into the game, as I, began to learn while I was in the game, it was like, okay, I may have bumped my head a couple of times to figure this thing out, but what I also don't want to happen is that I allow, if I can, other people to make these same mistakes. So why not be that guiding light, if you will? You know what I mean? And again, this came from trials and tribulations of the game and the trial period of figuring the things out. And then me discovering, yeah, this is what I need to do, not only for myself, but for cats coming up, behind me. So that was my motivation of going to law school. You know what I mean? And that was my motivation for becoming an entertainment attorney. And that is still the motivation of me actively practicing as an entertainment attorney. But then still, creating music, you know what I'm saying, at the same time. So yeah.
Oh, okay, man. Salute to you, man. That's
Appreciate
major.